Hello everyone and welcome to Beginner's Code, a place for you to learn with me as I dive deeper into the coding world. Before I start, this video is brought to you by SiteGround. If you're looking for a hosting service that is fast, reliable and has great customer service, please do check out the link in the description below. This is an affiliate link, so if you do end up being a SiteGround customer through my link, I will receive a little and this will be extremely beneficial for the channel. Or if you're wanting to learn more about Python, then make sure you check out my website, Instagram or GitHub for projects. The links for these will all be in the descriptions below, so please do check them out. Also, don't forget to subscribe to see more videos from me as I teach you through the basics. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at for loops. Now, for loops are kind of like if statements, however, we are able to use for loops to iterate through a data structure. So for example, we could have a sequence of numbers that are inside a list, and we can then use a for loop to go through every single number that is inside the list. So to start with, I'll just show you the layout. So if we do, we'll start with for. So if we do for something in something, and then a colon at the end, and then we will indent the next line by either 4 spaces or a tab. And then here we will have do something. So what we are really doing here is we are iterating through something and finding each something. So this will be a lot clearer when we actually start looking at data types with it. But one thing that I do want to show you is that you may see a lot of times I or j being used for the first variable, and that is just a standard practice used by a lot of developers. It's just a throwaway variable basically. So for example, if we create a word variable and just say hello, then we can use the for loop by doing for letter, or for example I or j. This can be anything, whatever you want it to be, but for now I will just call it letter. For letter in word, we will just print the letter. So now if I save this and run it, you will see down here each letter has been printed out on a separate line, and that is because we are looping through this word here, or this sequence of elements here, and we are printing every single individual element. So for example, we can then further this by calling a method on it. So if I was to do letter.upper, we will then save this and save this and run it. And you'll see down here that this is all now printed in uppercase because we are affecting every single element with the upper method. So we can do this with multiple different data types. And if I was to just do a list of numbers, and I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then if I made a for loop, so for num in list of nums, we can then print the num, and if I save that and press go, you will see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But what we can also do is we can create a new variable here. So I could do num2 and then do num2 is equal to num times by 2. So what we will be doing here is we will be looping through this list and timesing each number or each element by 2. And then we can print num2, and you will see here each number has been printed but doubled. So we can also do this with tuples. So if I made a tuple that was equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then did for le in tup, so this is for each element in the tuple, and then print the element and run this, we get 1, 2, 3, 4 back. And again, we can do exactly the same. We can even do it within the print statement. So le times by 2, and you get 2, 4, 6, 8. So now if you've had a little bit of practice with dictionaries, you'll know that they have a key value pair. And there are a few different ways that we can do this. But if I create a dictionary and just assign 1 to hello, and then 2 to goodbye, And then if we did a for loop, we can actually pass in two different elements here. So we can pass in a key and a value in dictionary. And if we pass in .items after, we are then calling this, oh, I spelled that wrong. We're then calling the .items method on this dictionary. So it will call every single item that is in the dictionary. It will loop through it, finding the key and the value for this dictionary. And what we can do is print key, and then we can also underneath print value. So if I run this, you'll see 2 goodbye, 1 hello. And this is in a different order because dictionaries are unordered. They will return it in any different order. So now if we were to put them both onto one line, and if I save this and run it, we can get the dictionary and we can get the key and the value as a tuple. And this is known as tuple unpacking, and we can then go further on that. I will be doing a video about tuple unpacking at some point. But for now, if we then changed the .items to .keys, we don't need to include the key here because we are just retrieving the key. So we can then just retrieve the value that is associated to every key. So you'll see down here we get 2 and 1. Whereas if I change this to .values and then change that, I mean this could stay the same as value, it doesn't matter. I'll keep it as value. And then print this, we get goodbye and hello, as these are the two values that are associated to the keys. Now we can also look at a useful built-in method that Python comes with, which is the range. So if I did range 1 to 10 and I printed this, you will see down here we get a list of numbers returned up to, but not including the second parameter. So now if I created a for loop, so for I in range 1 through to 10. So as we've seen down here, we will get 1 through to 9. So for I in range 1 through to 10, we print I. And if I save that and run it, you'll see down here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But what we can do further on this is inside a for loop, we could then do an if statement or a nested for loop. So we can do another for loop inside if needed. But for now, if I do if I mod 2 is double equal to 0. Now, if you don't know what an if statement is, or if you don't know what these comparison operators are, then I will leave some links in the cards above for you to check them out. So now if I print I, we would get 2, 4, 6, 8. So this is only returning the even numbers of the range that has been created of 1 through to 9. And note that this I is actually indented from the if statement. If I were to take that back a line, we will get an indentation error. But if I then was to put here pass and run this, we just get 9 back because we will be only printing the last element of the list because I is actually outside of the for loop here. Now, if I was to create a list of nums and did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I created a second list, so I call that list 2, and I just assign that to an empty list. What we can do now is do for num in list of nums, and then if I did if num mod 2 is double equal to 0, so again we're going to be finding all the even numbers that are inside this list, we can then do list 2 dot append num. So what we're going to be doing here is if the number is even, so if we go through this list and 1 isn't even, then 1 will stay in list of nums. but if 2 is even, then we will append 2 to list 2. And then we'll check 3. If it's not, it will go on to 4, and then 4 will be appended. So now outside of the for loop, if we print list 2 and save and then run it, we get 246. If I was to actually put this into the if statement and then run it, you see 2, 24, and then 246. So this is printing every iteration. But if I was to now print list of nums first and then list 2, you'll see here we get the whole list, and then list 2 we get just the even numbers. So the iteration and appending to the list 2 doesn't affect the original list. That's all for today's video. Hopefully this has helped a little with your understanding of for loops and how they can work with different data types to make your programs more functional. If there's anything that you'd like me to cover further, please don't hesitate in reaching out to me by dropping a comment below on Instagram or through my website. Stay tuned, as in my next video I will be creating a program in 3 different ways. If you liked what we've been through today and you want to learn more, please drop a like and subscribe to my channel to keep up to date. Thank you, and see you next time.